Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be checking out the Hollywood Racks Destination platform style bike rack on our 2015 Hyundai Elantra. First impressions of the rack on the back of the Elantra. I think it's a pretty good fit for it actually. This is a pretty compact rack, and so it just makes sense on the back of the Hyundai. You know, these aren't huge cars by any means. And this one's also really light. And I feel like that's important, again, with a vehicle like this, because a lot of times the trailer hitch where the rack goes into doesn't have super high weight capacities. So by having a really light bike rack, it can give you a little extra breathing room if you have some heavier bikes, or you know, you just don't have to worry about kind of pushing it towards the limits there. And it also sits up pretty high. So there's a rise in the shank, which we'll kind of talk about in a minute, but the part that plugs into the hitch goes up, and that's going to get your bikes a lot higher off the ground. You know, with the Elantra being pretty low, you know, the higher up the better, right? So you shouldn't have to worry really at all about this hitting a curb, or when you go up a big hill, this contacting or anything like that. So pretty good stuff there. I do want to mention too, with our bike, I did try to open up the trunk, and you can get it about halfway before it hits our handlebar. So every setup's going to be a little different. You know, if you got real narrow handlebars or whatever the case may be, you may be able to get in there completely. But just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, you know, the way the rack is going to work is relatively simple. It's going to hold your bike down in 3 spots. And so you have some straps on each wheel, and then this piece here in the middle clamps around the frame and keeps everything secure. So it does a pretty decent job. You know, this rack can hold up to a total of 2 bikes. And the way that you can get it off, I always like to start with the wheels first. So these straps, you just push down on them, lift them up and out of the way. Same thing with the back one, and the straps have these little rubber pieces on them too. You know, just a little extra layer of protection there. And then as far as the middle one goes, what you want to do is you want to hold the bike, because once you undo this, obviously nothing's holding it anymore. So we'll undo that. And you can lift up and over this, or this also folds down if you want to do it that way. But being pretty short, it's really not bad. So just lift this up and set it out of the way. So, you know, obviously once your bike is off your trunk, you're going to have more than enough room to get in out of there. So nothing to worry about as far as that goes. And I want to mention, you know, whenever you're not using the rack, just make a habit of taking the straps and kind of clicking them back in. You know, that way they're not flopping around and stuff like that. But something that you do need to think about whenever you have the rack on the back of your Elantra, it is going to take up a little bit of space back here. And it shouldn't be a huge deal. Like I said, it's pretty compact, kind of a small car. But for those of you that are wondering, we'll go from the bumper to the very edge of the rack. It's going to add about 23.5 inches. So just keep that in the back of your head, you know, if you're pulling into a small garage or tight parking spot. This one does actually fold up though, and makes it a lot more compact. So obviously you'll have to flip this down right here, and there's a T-handle, and you don't have to pull this completely out. You just need to loosen it up a little bit. And then this can swing down either which way. And I'm not too crazy about this setup here, because there's a lot of stuff kind of in your way, but then again, I haven't perfected my technique here just yet. But this will come down, and then I have noticed this can move around. So one of the things you can do to stop that from bouncing around is take your strap and just run that through, and that'll hold it down and stop it from moving. But to actually get it folded up here, there's a knob that you unscrew. And then this will raise up. Line back up. Obviously you want to put that back in. And now it hardly takes up any space at all, really. Looks like probably the furthest point will be right here. So we'll measure from the bumper to it. And in this position, it only looks like it's going to add about 12 inches to the back of your Elantra. So with it like this, you really shouldn't run into any issues at all, even if you do have a small garage or try to pull into that tight spot. So moving on down here, that's the shank I talked about, how it comes up, and that's how it gives us a little more ground clearance. But this is going to work with the 1¼ by 1¼ receiver tube openings. This also comes with the part that allow you to use it for the bigger hitches, the 2" by 2" one. So, you know, if you end up getting a different car or have another one in the household, chances are pretty good the bike rack will work with it too. It is going to come with an anti-rattle bolt, and it's actually a locking one too, so it's secured to your hitch. And what that's going to do is eliminate any slop or play there in the connection point and help keep things a little more quiet. You know, you won't hear it clunking around. So kind of give you an example of that. Let's say if we're hitting some bumps down the road, you know, you can see the rack is going to move with our Hyundai and not on its own. But other than that though, at the end of the day, the bike rack's a little bit different from some of the others, and that's perfectly okay. It's a good one to kind of get you going. You know, it works well with the Elantra. It doesn't look too bad and is easy to handle. And that'll finish up our look at of the Hollywood Racks Destination platform style bike rack on our 2015 Hyundai Elantra.